Bama took a titanic loss in Nashville, and the Crimson Tide now reeling, trying to figure out what happened. They went from the biggest win to the worst loss. But to me, maybe it was the way that they acted after the game that's the most concerning part of the future of this team. And can they get things right? I think they can. We're going to talk about that. Bama Tailgate YouTube channel. Like and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. Big Sexy Elmo in the house. You guys in the house. Roll Tide, everybody. Let's get this party started. All right, Roll Tide. There he is, Brett Elmore, a.k.a. Big Sexy Elmo. I'm Mick Gillispie. Thanks for hanging out with us here on the channel. Well, it's time to get your reaction. We haven't heard from you yet after the Alabama loss to Vanderbilt, 40-35. But number one, losing to an unranked team. And to me, this is as bad of a loss as I can remember in my time covering, cheering for, loving Alabama.
Yeah, I can't find one to compare it to, and I've had time to really think about it, and sometimes you want to try to make the best out of a situation, but this is a bad situation, and you can't sugarcoat it. This was a terrible coaching job performance on the road at a place that even the commentators said 70% Crimson in the stands. This is Vanderbilt, and I know it's not your grandma's Vanderbilt. They're a better football team than they have been, but you don't go with the talent on the road to Vanderbilt and lose. You just don't, especially if you're Alabama. Just look at the record, the previous record. And another thing, too, is one of the first things I saw as an argument and a comparison to this was Saban's first year against ULM. That's nonsense. And the reason why is Coach Saban inherited a very bad program, a program that was in shambles, a program that was, a 500 program at best. He didn't inherit the talent that DeBoer did. So I don't want to hear that argument, because I think that's garbage.
Can't argue there, man. I mean, I can't argue. I think that this wasn't a talent problem. I'm going to tell you my take, and you kind of, hit yours. I think that it was a hangover. And I know, hey, some people don't feel like that. I just think that it was the perfect storm for this kind of game. And I warned people, that. I kept talking about this Vanderbilt team being dangerous. And it was because they're good enough to beat you if you don't do the things that you need to do to prepare. We had a lot going against us. And it didn't help when Coach Saban said it's the easiest place to play or the only place to play in the league that doesn't have like a home field advantage. And he's right, but it's still rat poison to say that. They played it on the scoreboard after the game as they were tearing the goalpost down and marching it to Broadway and maybe into the river somewhere. So you got that. You had the fact that Alabama beat Georgia. That was a colossal win for Alabama. It was one of the best games ever. And we just kept talking about it because you had to, and talk about it and talk about it and talk about it. The 24-hour rule was not in effect. We're just as guilty as they are. It was clear. Vanderbilt lost to a Georgia State. But that's typical Vanderbilt. But then they went and almost and should have beat Missouri at the time, a top 10 team at home, or Vandy on the road, and they blew it. They just couldn't kick field goals. They gave it away. So they're extra motivated. Hey, we can beat these guys. And then they caught some breaks, a deflected interception for a touchdown, an official calling a personal foul when a guy didn't even knock the quarterback to the ground, barely even brushed his face mask. And that extended a drive. Bama had two number twos on the field, one play. then, to me, it came down to, I thought Alabama was still going to win. And then Pritchett missed that block and Milroe got blindsided and fumbled the football. And that was the game, and for all intents and purposes. They did everything right. They barely won, but they did everything right. And Alabama lost. And it's the biggest win in their school's history. It was a hangover. You've got to go into every single game focused. This is what Nick Saban always talked about. The rat poison was listening to the media. Your quarterback's going to win the Heisman. You guys are going to win the national championship. You're number one in the country. You got to forget all about that, and you got to be focused on the next opponent. And it just didn't feel like that's what happened. And then, obviously watching Malachi Moore at the end of the game was embarrassing. It was embarrassing for him, embarrassing for the team. And he's a captain. Yeah. Embarrassing for Alabama. And I like Malachi. This isn't an indictment of him, but that behavior is just not worthy of a captain or of an Alabama football player. They've got a lot to work on between now and South Carolina and Tennessee and Missouri and all these games that they got coming up. It's not as bad as it feels today. This is still a really good team, but there's just you just can't overlook an opponent. I think they learned a valuable lesson.
Probably won't be an ice cream truck on the practice field this week, pal. Sometimes I think, is the guy too soft? I don't know. But he's only coached, 5 ball games now? He's a good coach. Look at his record, but still, this is an embarrassing loss. And everything you said was right on the money. I mean, Vanderbilt came out. They were prepared. They had confidence. They set the tone. And when, we were, our time of possession, the first half was like 8.5 minutes. My dad always used to say, an offense can't hurt you if their ass is on the ground or on the bench. You know what I'm saying? And they kept our offense off the field. And when you have the playmakers we have, and the 17-year-old phenom is now the youngest college football player to ever lose to Vanderbilt. Call spade a spade,
Yeah.
He's a great player, but
he's a great player.
That distinction too.
Well, he's still learning. I mean, some of he's still got to get better at route running and all that. But man, he's so fantastic. But you're right. That's the bottom line. Is that this team just got their face rubbed in crap.
Yeah.
And what are they going to do now? Are they going to get up and come out fighting, or are they going to roll over? Are they going to be tough enough to get to the college football playoff, or is that loss going to define who they are? Those are the questions that I want to see answered.
Yeah, and it was this may be the best thing to happen to this team this early in the season. I don't know. I always thought we were going to lose a game, maybe 2 this season, but I never imagined it would have been to Vanderbilt.
How about just the scope of this? We go from beating Georgia, that had a 42-game regular season winning streak, to losing to the laughing stock of the SEC. I don't even think they belong in the SEC. And it has nothing to do with the coaching or even the players. It has more to do with the institution's dedication to college football. Now, I do like that they're expanding the stadium. They're making it more modern. We were just there. But when you compare it to what everyone else brings to the table, up until Saturday, they really didn't have much of a resume. That is a program builder if you're at Vanderbilt to beat Alabama. That part of it to me is the most amazing part, because it's not that we had 70% more fans in a place that held 24,000, which means you're talking about, 3,000 of their fans or something. I mean, it didn't even feel like there were any of them in there.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I know. It's a resume builder for their coach too. I mean, seems like whenever they do get a decent coach, he flees to another program, and that's kind of just the way Vanderbilt's always been, a stepping stone. But this was a huge one for them. And look, kudos to them and their fans, both of them, because this is a big win for them. They deserved it. Man, and we didn't deserve to win the ball game. I thought we were going to win it there at the end. I thought, well, here comes that moment, where you have that big comeback in one of these seasons, even though it's to Vanderbilt. And then we just fall flat on our face at the very end. There's not much more you can say about it.
Really, I figured Milroe was going to take us down.
Yeah.
We're going to score, and then Pritchett misses that block, and that guy kills him, and then he drops the ball, and it was just like, you got to be kidding me. Like, this is really – we're losing to these guys. So we'll see what happens. DeBoer and the coaches, and they have a lot of work to do. I mean, I think that's an understatement, and they got South Carolina coming in 11 o'clock on Saturday, but I think the time is perfect. I mean, I'm sure if you're Alabama, you just want to get back out there again and block and tackle and run and, and do the things you got to do to be successful. But with all of that said,
you look so good against Georgia, look so piss poor against Vanderbilt.
I know.
What the hell's going on here?
I know.
That's what I really want to say. Mm-hmm. What is going on? But I gotta keep my composure. Everyone stay calm.
It's not the end of the world, although it does feel like the sky's falling.
The sun did come up, but it doesn't feel real.
Well, we'll see what happens. But congratulations to Vandy. I mean,
and their fans.
One and only time they'll ever beat number one.
Yeah, exactly. And we lived through it.
Who would have ever thought?
This is ridiculous.
I mean, come on. All right, before Brett takes over, let me remind you guys of what we're all about here. And that is, we're all about football. And you guys swing over to Pearl River Resort over in Philadelphia, Mississippi. Take advantage of the Timeout Sports Lounge deal they got going right now. Put $50 or more down in the sports book. Take that receipt to Dancing Rabbit, and you can play Dancing Rabbit, the Augusta that you can play for just $40, as I mentioned before. But hour and a half from Tuscaloosa, 2 hours and change from Birmingham around. It's a Vegas-style experience. Silver Star and Golden Moon Casinos that go back-to-back. It's really fun. They've got the music going there, 30 years celebrating in Philadelphia with Gary Allen coming up, great country singer, Scotty McCrary, you know him from American Idol, and more at Pearl River Resort. So take advantage of that. Table game slots, the whole deal. Spa, got the water park. So we appreciate them. And then the other thing is there is a new print that is going to be in production, and you guys are going to want it. Use the promo code Bama Tailgate, 20% off at New Life Art. Right now, they're working on, I think it's called Double Deuce. Yeah, the Georgia print from that amazing game that took place in Tuscaloosa, depending on how the season ends. Look, if Alabama bounces back and gets to the playoff, the Vandy game could be one of the best things that ever happened. But don't forget how amazing that Georgia game was. And the question, what would you rather have? Lose to Georgia and beat Vandy, or beat Georgia and lose to Vandy? 100%, I want to beat Georgia, and I'll take a loss to Vandy. Beating Georgia is always great. But this print is going to be fantastic. Ryan Williams, Xavier Brown, I'm guessing will be on there when Daniel Moore releases it. NewLifeArt.com. Use the promo code Bama Tailgate to pimp out your man cave.
To Pearl River Resort.
They call him Big Sexy, coming at you from the Walker County. Jasper is his hometown. He's known for giving free rundowns. Oh, Big Sexy, throwing out those Alabama thoughts, sneaking out your mom's window without getting caught. It gives you the XPs, but Big Elmore is here to please. Big Sexy Elmore on the Bama Tailgate Show.
Today's a new day, the 7th day of October, 2024. And Mixter, let's take a look at the birthdays, shall we?
Let's do it.
Vladimir Putin is 72 today.
Oh yeah, the Russian president, more of a dictator. I mean, he was president, and then he ran out of terms, right? And then had somebody
he was like the prime minister, and then they made him president.
Yeah, like he was out of it for a while, and then magically they changed things, and now he's in, and he's going to be in forever.
Probably so. Tom York, singer from Radiohead, 56.
I like Radiohead, sneaky good group.
Yeah. John Mellencamp, 73 today.
When Bama played in 2015 in the national championship game in Arizona and Phoenix, John Cougar Mellencamp was performing. We went to that. I was there. I was just talking.
I was there too.
Yeah, just talking to Baron Huber. I was with him at the time. I'm trying to line him up for one of our Cover Crimson shows next week. Come on and hang out with us. But yeah, I liked him, man. Look, great Hall of Fame singer, songwriter, one of the greats, the Cougar.
Yeah, the Coug.
Probably not what you want to be called now, though. You know, when he was the Cougar, it didn't mean like what it means now.
No. We stayed at some golf resort, and I can't remember the name of it out there. And it was weird because it wasn't a hotel per se. It was like these bungalows.
Oh, yeah. I might have stayed at that place before.
It was like four rooms, you know, in like a building. And that's the only time I've ever had a noise complaint against me. So I remember that quite well. I remember that trip. And let's see, Simon Cowell, judge on American Idol and the X Factor, 65 today.
Yeah, how cool was it having American Idol winner Taylor Hicks on the show? And you jumped in twice on the Tailgate show Friday.
Yeah.
And his dad was a dentist in Walker County, in your beloved Walker County, and you surprised him. I thought he was he was great on the show. I got to tell you guys this too. I was supposed to play Porch Swing, his song, and it just gets to the point where you're trying to do all this stuff. We didn't get to do it. We're going to do it probably this week coming up. But it's fantastic, man. He's you don't realize what a great singer he is until you know, I put a couple of songs on my Instagram pictures with him on there. He's talented, man. He's got soul to him, you know.
And guess what? Today is also his birthday. He's 48.
No way.
Yeah. Yep.
I didn't know that. Happy birthday, man. Cool.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, Taylor.
For his birthday, everybody listened to some of his songs on Apple Music.
Yeah. Or Spotify or wherever you get your favorite music.
Yep.
You're looking for something to celebrate. It never fails. I get a phone call every time I do it.
Probably him. He's probably like, why'd you tell him I'm 48?
Yeah, it's probably him. No, it never fails. Every time I do the show, I get a phone call. But anyway, today is National Forgiveness and Happiness Day.
Hey, lesson. I'm going to tell you one of the best lessons I got. I've talked about it on here many times. Daryl Strawberry talking about, I'm an MC of an event, and then he's in there. I think we're going to talk baseball, and we talk about granting grace. And it was life-changing, man. Like, you got to do that. There's going to be people in your life that don't deserve it, but that's kind of part of it. It's part of, you know, God grants you grace. You got to return the favor. I mean, that's kind of the whole thing of it. But boy, it's hard to do it sometimes, you know.
It is.
But it frees you, man. I'm telling you, it frees
right.
you when you grant that grace. You're the one.
Yep.
People hurt your heart. It's hard to say. It's hard to let them off the hook.
You Matter to Me Day is also today.
Well, you matter to me, big sexy Elmo.
You matter to me, Mick.
Brother.
Absolutely. Today is Blue Shirt Day.
I got my JLX shirt on, but it's not blue. It's gray.
Yeah, we'll find something blue to wear today. Let's see. It was this day in history. 1849, Edgar Allan Poe passed away at the age of 40.
I'm glad you brought that up because he, of course, he's known for the Raven, and
Right.
the Raven had two guys that were excellent against the Bungles in their win on Sunday. Marlon Humphrey, game ball, and Derrick Henry still trucking, man. Derrick Henry looks amazing in that Ravens jersey. I'm going to have to get one just to sport it on Sundays. Derrick Henry's 30 years old. They don't really have a lot of 30-year-old running backs anymore, but the guy has still got it.
He does. He does.
And the Ravens were named after, by the way, Edgar Allan Poe, who's a Baltimorean. They were named after him. Yep.
Nice. 1968, the Motion Picture Association of America adopted its film rating system G for general audiences, M, later known as PG for mature audiences, R for restricted audiences, and X for Mick, for adult patrons only. Let's see. What else happened this day? 2008. Speaking of music, Spotify, the platform I just mentioned, is launched this day, 2008.
Yeah, why didn't I think of that?
And that's a look at this day in history.
Guys, thanks for hanging out. Like and subscribe to the channel. The Tailgate Show will be in Tuscaloosa this week. We'll record that with Jake Coker, 1 to 3, 1 to 4 range at Innisfree. So swing by on that Friday and see us. And all of you that came to hang out with us in Nashville, man, thank you guys. Love you. And roll tide, everybody. We'll talk to you again real soon.